What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about if the Reaper sniper rifle is still worth it after the nerf that happened last week. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below if you think the Reaper sniper rifle is worth using. Had a bit of time to play with it now. I think the nerf was last Friday, and so it's been a few days. People have had time to play with it, kind of get adjusted to the new bullet drop. If you were not aware of what changed, they made the bullets travel slower and drop more, and then they also further reduced the spawn rate of this weapon, making it harder to find. In short, I think yes, it's still incredibly good, and if you find this, especially in zero build, it's one of the best weapons in the game. It is a bit harder to use now, and that's kind of what the trade-off is. They keep making it more inconvenient to use, to where you're going to have to lead shots more, and kind of the slower the bullets travel and the more they drop, you can compensate for this a lot on a target that's standing still. But if you have somebody that's moving, especially if they're moving somewhat quick, using like the sprint, the flow berries, the Cerberus dashes, anything that allows them to move fast, it gets harder and harder to hit people consistently as they make the weapon harder to use. And I feel like that's kind of what was impacted most. Very long range, it's a lot harder to use now. And then especially if you have an opponent moving a lot, it's going to be much more inconvenient to use. But those kind of like mid-range stalemates where maybe you're behind a cover and a piece of cover and the opponent's behind a piece of cover and y'all are kind of like peeking in and out, or maybe like you catch someone unsuspecting, I feel like those situations, this weapon is still going to be very good. And I think that was what it was always best at and what made it so good. Like long range, I think it's what was impacted most, but I personally never really wanted to be sniping at people like 150, 200 meters away, you know? In team game modes, even if you get a knock at that range, you may or may not be able to do anything with it. Like they might get the res by the time you get there, or they have like a lot of opportunity to get damage back on you as you push them, you know? And then in solos, while it might be nice to like hit somebody that far away and just take them out of the game, for me, I was usually more concerned about people that were more imminent threats rather than someone like 200 plus meters away. And while you're sitting there sniping at somebody who isn't a threat to you, in those very long range fights, you make yourself more exposed to potential third parties, whether it's solos, duos, trios, squads. So like I never really wanted to be sniping at people extremely far away. It was more just about how insane this weapon was in mid-range that made it so effective to me, especially with like the ARs not being as good in Chapter 5, especially last season when they first made the weapons projectile. Bullet travel time was really bad on the ARs. It's a bit better now, but even then, the fact that the sniper could peek for a fraction of a second, throw out 100 plus damage body shot or an insta-knock headshot in medium range is what made it so good and what kind of made a lot of fights play out around snipers. And even with the nerfs, I think it's still going to be very good because it's still good in medium range. And it still has that 3-bullet mag. It's still kind of a weapon where you can just fish with your shots. You can throw them out. You're not really giving much up for throwing them out because you only have to peek for a fraction of a second. And then if it hits, you either get the kill or you can push off of it and kind of go into a close range fight with that damage advantage. I still think they're going to be very good mid-range. It's just a little more inconvenient to use. But I think as people get used to the bullet drop, it's going to just be better and better again. For an example of how the new bullet drop is, I recorded some clips of me aiming at a friend in the pit and kind of just, you can see I marked the distance, how far away we are, and then using the different notches on the scope, you can see. So within 50 meters, you really don't need to lead that much as far as bullet drop is concerned. If the person is moving, you will have to like aim a bit ahead of them, but the drop of the bullet isn't that much under 50 meters. At 50 meters, you're going to want to use the dash. The first dash on the scope will be what you need for 50 meters. The second dash will be for 75 meters. The third one for 100 meters. And then the fourth dash is for 145 meters. I didn't record anything past that because I think it's very unlikely you're going to be hitting shots past that. But I believe I've been told that 5 is 185 meters, and then the 6th dash is for 200 meters. But I just wanted to kind of show how much you won't need to lead in mid-range, because I think that's what made the weapon such a force to begin with, and I think that's what made it so good this entire season, and what I think it's still good at. Past 150 meters, I think it's going to be really just luck if you hit shots, especially if the person is moving. If they're standing still and you can line it up with the dashes, then maybe. But if they're moving at all, it's going to be hard to hit those shots. And I feel like I can count on like one hand how many times I've hit snipes like over 200 meters this chapter. It's like not been very many, you know? So that is just kind of an example of how much you need to lead. I don't like relying on those dashes too much. Like I did it for this video just to kind of give you a ballpark example of what the new drop looks like, you know? But I think in the heat of a moment, especially when the opponent is moving and like jumping around and stuff, I feel like you need to just really have like an instinctual feel for how much to lead in certain ranges. So these dashes can give you a nice kind of like ballpark estimate. But when I'm in an actual game, I'm not really like marking next to somebody and then seeing how far away it is and then determining how many dashes I need to lead based on that. I'm just kind of throwing shots out. And I feel like as you get more time using the weapon and you get used to playing with it more and more, you get a more instinctual feel for the bullet drop. And then you're able to easily decide in a fraction of a second how much you need to lead. Because like you guys know how fights play out in this game. You might have like very small windows of time to shoot at an opponent before they move or before they like snipe you back. So the dashes can be good for learning and kind of visualizing how much you need to lead for certain ranges, but I don't think it's good to rely only on that because you rarely will have the opportunity of like an opponent just standing still, not moving for that long, you know? I still think it's very good. I still think it's going to be a top tier weapon. It's a little bit harder to use, but I think as you put in more time and as the community puts in more time and gets more used to the sniper, I think it's going to be the meta still, and it's still just a very, very good weapon. The drop rate of the sniper was also nerfed in this update, but there still are a few NPCs on the map that sell it. I'll have a picture of the map on screen now, but I'll quickly go over it as well. The Hope NPC at Grand Glacier sells a Reaper sniper. The Mina NPC in between Rebel's Roost and Lavish Lair sells a Reaper sniper rifle. The new Nura NPC that was added in yesterday's update is at this lake, kind of in the middle of the map. She will sell a Reaper sniper as well. And then the Clara NPC at the graveyard in between Classy Courts and Reckless Railway will drop a blue one if you eliminate her. Even though the blue one is removed, you can get one from eliminating that NPC. So no matter where you land, there's kind of one in every quadrant of the map and then one in the center of the map as well, or basically the center of the map. So if you're very fixated on getting snipers, it's more inconvenient to do so now, but they're still out there spawning in the wild, and then you can guarantee you'll get it from one of these NPCs. If you like loot your area, don't get one, find yourself in the middle of the map, hit up the Nura NPC, and you got it, you know? There are also vending machines that sell them. The vending machines this season are just random as what they spawn with, and when you see a sniper vending machine, sometimes it'll be a sniper, sometimes it'll be a DMR, but there is like a chance for you to get a vending machine that spawns as sniper. So if that's also something you're concerned about, you know, check out the vending machines in the different POIs or at your POI after you land there, you know, whatever it is. So like I said at the start of the video, in short, sniper is very good. It's a little bit harder to use, not really that much harder to use than mid-range, which is what I think made it so insane anyways. Very long range, kind of not on the table anymore, but I didn't think that was the main selling point of the weapon anyways. If you have a really hard time learning the new drop or just finding it, I made a video earlier this week about how the DMR can be a decent replacement. That will be linked in the description down below. But I think the DMR is quite good. It's more readily available. It's much easier to use because you don't have to lead much at all. And then the hand cannon can also be a solid replacement in medium range. I just don't think it has as much upside as the sniper because it can't insta-kill, you know? But I think the hand cannon is good. I just don't find it very often, to be honest. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found this helpful, informative, interesting. I know it's a big surprise for a lot of you that despite like the 4th nerf, the Reaper sniper is still good. But I still think it's one of the best weapons in the loot pool, and learning the new drop definitely will give you an advantage on other players. If you found this helpful, informative, interesting, give it a like, sub if you'd like to see more. Comment down below what you think of the change, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. I don't know where he is. He's like somewhere under me though. I don't want this metal bar here. It's like there's so much stuff to get stuck on. Oh yeah, this guy is the one that was using the chain earlier. I don't know where he is. See, like, I just did not get on him. Like, his chain was never going to be relevant in the fight until he was already dead, basically.